เมื่อปีที่ผ่านมาเอริก ชมิดต์ประธานบริหาร Google พร้อมคณะได้เดินทางไปยังเกาหลีเหนือเพื่อหว่านล้อมให้เกาหลีเหนือหันมาสนใจเปิดโลกอินเทอร์เน็ตแทนที่จะทุ่มเงินทดลองนิวเคลียร์และขีปนาวุธในขณะที่รัฐบาลสหรัฐมองว่านี่เป็นการเยือนที่เปล่าประโยชน์
Earlier this year you were in North Korea. Why did you go to North Korea? You know that they are not your potential customers.
Yes, in fact, it's important to know that there's a law in America that does not allow Google to do business in North Korea, even if we wanted to. But that's okay. I'm not sure the North Koreans wanted us either. Jared and I and my daughter went to North Korea because we believe that everyone would benefit being connected, and that includes the North Koreans. North Korea is the last country that's closed. It's the last country on earth where there's essentially no connectivity. They do have about 1 million phones, but the 1 million phones you can't call out, you can't call in, they don't roam. They have essentially no access to the internet except in the government and in certain very carefully regulated universities. They have 2 television channels, they have 1 or 2 radio stations, they have no personal music, they have no iPods. It's very much a relic of the socialist state of the 1940s. And it's very, very sad. So I believe, and I genuinely believe, that the citizens and the government of North Korea would be better with more connectivity. I think their economics would be stronger. I think the citizens would be healthier. I think the country would be more stable. And most importantly, they would be better welcome in the rest of the world.
And they look upon this as Western colonization?
Well, the North Koreans listened very, very carefully.
Did you meet the top guy?
No, he refused to meet with us. He was willing to meet with the basketball player.
Yes, Dennis.
But he refused to meet with us. But nevertheless, the Koreans were very polite. They listened very carefully. They wrote everything down, and they said, "We're thinking about it."
And they welcome Google there?
We don't know.
Did they know that you were from Google?
Of course.
Oh, you did not
Especially after the United States said that we shouldn't go.
The State Department made a statement against that. And why did you go despite the government?
You know, it's extraordinarily true that in America, you can, as long as you follow the law, you can do what you want.
So
and it's absolutely legal to go to
there's
North
nothing
Korea.
wrong in going to North Korea.
As long as in an American law, it's legal for a U.S. citizen to visit North Korea on a humanitarian gesture. And we went as private citizens on a humanitarian trip.
So you can donate money?
You can donate money so long as it's for food or humanitarian activities.
Not to upgrade their Wi-Fi, not to improve their...
that would be iffy, but you have to be very careful. You cannot do business in North Korea if you're an American.
เมื่อปี 2010 Google ประกาศย้ายบริการสืบค้นข้อมูลภาคภาษาจีนจากจีนแผ่นดินใหญ่ไปยังฮ่องกงตลอดจนยุติการเซ็นเซอร์ข้อมูลการค้นหาของผู้ใช้ในจีนในขณะที่จีนโจมตีว่า Google ทำให้ประเด็นการค้ากลายเป็นประเด็นการเมือง
China, you're not in China. Or you were yourself personally in China, but Google has moved out to Hong Kong. But you went to China.
Yeah, no, I've been to China many times, and
you're still talking to them?
Yes, we talk to them all the time. They're very nice people, right? Very tough, very nice people.
But what is your relationship in terms of business?
I think there's a couple comments to say about China. I think we've been available in China for almost a decade. We opened up operations in a localized site 7 years ago. And because of the way their censorship law works, we had to do the censorship. We did that for about 5 years. After a particularly unpleasant attack by the Chinese army on Google servers and the attack on the dissidents, we decided to move to Hong Kong. The effect of this was that our servers are in Hong Kong and the censorship is done by the Chinese government. So today we have a smaller market share in mainland China and a very good market share in Hong Kong.
Yeah. And you're not ready to compromise to do business there?
Well, we decided we would not.
Was that a big debate back in the headquarters?
Yes, of course. Google is a company where everything is debated.
Everything is debated. How do you make decisions?
Well, in this particular decision, what happened was we had the evidence of the Chinese attack on Google with great detail. And we had the evidence of the attack on dissidents. And we knew that the censorship was going to get worse, and indeed it has gotten worse. So based on that, we had a lengthy conversation at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon in a special meeting for about 3 hours. And we actually had a vote. And the majority of the executives, after listening to all of the discussion, thought that it was best to do what we did. And so that's how we operated.
Was your position against doing business in China from the beginning, or did you shift your position?
Within the management team, I have always been more willing to engage, and others have been more upset.
Yes.
But as an example at Google, this is how Google works. We had a vigorous debate. And at the end of that debate, everyone said, I can see your side.
Yes.
And I must say that I can see the side of the people who I disagree with. I could understand how I might have that view. And at that point, it was clear that we should make a decision. We typically do things by consensus. The consensus said to pull out. And then it became my decision to implement that.
Right.
And I had to call the Chinese and negotiate with them and be tough with them. And I did that along with my colleagues. And it was important once you make the decision to move quickly.